Recently in the news, we've had riots and violence against police in places like Ferguson and Baltimore. Where should the police draw the line when violence erupts in these cities?
With what's happened in Ferguson, just in recent history in Baltimore, we get that question a lot. And the charge of sheriffs in Missouri is that one of these specific state statutes is we are to quell and suppress riots. That's in the chapter written for sheriffs. And so we firmly believe in a person's right to protest peacefully. And let me emphasize peacefully. That's the difference between a protest and a riot. The first time somebody picks up a rock or tries to block a street or do any of those things, they are committing a crime. They shall be arrested. That is how you quell and suppress riots. This nonsense of let them get by, it's just property, is nonsense. It's non-constitutional. We have the God-given right and the constitutional right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which includes our properties. And so they're violating property rights when they do that, and they shall and should be arrested.
Recently in the news, there's been certain people that have called for the federalization of police. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on the federalization of local police is the federal government hasn't been able to run a post office or anything else for that matter. And that is the absolute last thing that needs to happen, is someone from Washington trying to take care of local police matters. It's just ludicrous. You know, the office of sheriff is the only elected police officer in the nation. That's why it's called the office of sheriff. We are elected of our peers, and we respond to our peers quickly. If you try to get an answer out of Washington, D.C., good luck. Nobody can serve better than your local police officers and your local sheriffs inside of those communities. Washington, D.C. would be a joke.
John, how important is a concealed carry license in a citizen's protection on a day-to-day basis?
I think it's very important, because what we do is we try to prevent crimes as much as possible, but we cannot be everywhere all the time. And the likelihood of somebody being the victim of a crime and us being there is very remote. So an individual is responsible for their safety and their own family safety all the time.
What should a concealed carry license holder do in the event of a traffic stop or an encounter with a police officer?
If a person is stopped by a police officer, the first thing they should tell that police officer is, I have a concealed carry permit and I do have a weapon with me, but I wanted to let you know that. And the officers are typically fine with that. It doesn't make them nervous. They just know they've got a good law-abiding citizen letting them know that they are carrying.
Be upfront with them.
Absolutely. Be upfront with the officer. They're not there to try to give you a hassle over having a lawful right to carry. Most of these officers are very, very strong Second Amendment supporters.
How important is the Second Amendment to freedom in America today?
The Second Amendment is tremendously important to every citizen in this country. It is really, you know, it's said that it guarantees the first, because the freedom of speech, of course, is why this country was founded, because religious and free speech was absolutely forbidden under a king's rule. And so throughout the American history, since we've had a Constitution, the Second Amendment plays an utmost important role in our freedom.
Well, I think it's the backbone of what has made America the great country that it is today.
It is. It is what guarantees our freedom. Freedom is not free, and it's been weaponry that won our independence, defended our independence, defended our freedoms, and bought and paid for the freedom of many other people around this world.
Do you have any tips on personal security, something that people should look out for on a day-to-day basis?
The biggest tip that I can give anybody is always be aware of your surroundings. That is the key, whether you're a police officer, a farmer, a lady traveling by herself, going through a crowd, or in a vehicle. Be aware of your surroundings. Look to see what's going on. Look to see if there's somebody eyeballing you or whatever. Be aware. Always be looking for an exit, an avenue, a place of defense. Be cognizant of where you're at and what's going on.
If a shooting occurs, what would be the next procedure for the person?
If a shooting occurs and you're a person who has a valid concealed carry permit, first of all, secure your family or yourself as much as possible. In a defensive posture, kill the threat if you have to. If there is a threat, you kill that threat. If you are in fear and apprehension of your life, that is your duty to take care of yourself and your family.
How should you then prepare and contact the police in the aftermath? After
an incident has ended and you're certain that it is over and that it is safe and that your family is secure, most of the time by then somebody has dialed 911. If not, make sure that your weapon is secure, because police officers come in, and if they see someone with a gun, they're going to be on high alert and you're going to be the focus of it. So at that point in time, when you feel everything is secure, secure your weapon and basically leave all hands up where people can see them so nobody makes a mistake coming in from the outside.
Should you be the one to make that call to 911?
If no one has made that call and you don't hear any sirens coming or anything like that, yes, you should make that call then. But defend yourself and your family first.
In this day and age, we face threats to our freedoms by a far left state. What does the American people need to know about this type of a scenario?
Liberalism is akin to socialism. Government is the answer. That is what they believe. They can make better decisions than we can with our money, or better decisions than we can with virtually anything that you make a decision over. That's the loony left. When it comes right down to it, it's the loony left. These are also things that occurred. They would want to take all guns out of society, and so no one would have a gun, so then therefore you stop violence. Well, there were millions killed with swords before we had guns. So it's just ludicrous. Their ideology is absolutely nuts.
An armed man is a citizen. An unarmed man is a subject.
That is correct. You know, what did they do in Nazi Germany? First of all, they collected all the weapons, so there could be no armed resistance. So anytime someone wants to start banning a weapon, you better remember that you have freedoms, as much freedom as you do today, because somebody picked up a weapon and paid the price for that freedom.
And our future freedoms are only going to go as far as we're willing to fight for.
That is correct. We have to be prepared to fight for our freedoms.